Okay, so we've all been there. You find out a friend's world has just been shattered by loss, and you want to help, you really truly want to say the right thing, but you're just paralyzed. You're terrified of saying the absolute worst thing. It's this universal, deeply human, and, let's be honest, terrifying moment.
So what do you do? I mean, really, what do you do? How do you show up for someone when words feel totally useless and the risk of causing even more pain feels so high? All right, let's dive into this because there is a better way to support someone, and it all starts with a huge shift in how we think about grief itself.
So the first and probably most important mindset shift is this one. Grief is not a problem that needs to be solved. Our culture, we're obsessed with fixing things, but grief isn't broken.
This quote from author and grief expert Megan Devine, it just gives us this powerful new lens that reframes everything. When you start to see grief as an experience to be carried, not a problem to be solved, your whole role as a friend completely changes. You're no longer a fixer, you're a companion.
And this comparison just lays out the difference so perfectly. The fixing approach, that's where you offer solutions, platitudes, timelines. It kind of implies that grief is a flaw, this really uncomfortable state that we should just correct as fast as possible. But the caring approach, well, that understands that grief is just the natural echo of love. It offers presence, acknowledgement, and just a willingness to walk alongside someone, sharing the weight without ever trying to make it disappear.
And this quote from Rabbi Earl Grolman, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it. Grief is a process, right? It's not disorder. It's this emotional, physical, and spiritual necessity. It's really the price we pay for loving someone so deeply. Our job isn't to stop the grieving, but to create a safe space where it can actually happen.
So, how does this big mindset shift actually play out in our conversations? Let's get practical and look at the actual words we choose, because believe me, they matter immensely.
We've all asked it. Are you okay? It seems so harmless, but what it does is it pressures a grieving person to just say, I'm fine, when the honest answer is a clear no. A far better question is, how are you today? That tiny change is like magic. It narrows the whole scope down to right now, to this moment, which makes an honest answer feel manageable instead of totally overwhelming.
Platitudes like, they're in a better place. We say them to try and put a silver lining on this immense pain, but what they often do is just dismiss the reality of that pain. I mean, as one author put it, the best place for our loved ones was right here with us. A simple, honest acknowledgement like, this must be so hard. It validates their experience. It just says, I see your pain, and I'm not going to try and explain it away.
Okay, this one is so critical. Asking how they died, that can force someone to relive a really traumatic moment, all for the sake of your curiosity. It puts all the focus on the event of their death. But shifting to what was their name, that does something beautiful. It centers the whole conversation on the person's life. It honors them, it invites stories, and it reminds everyone that a person is so much more than the way they died.
And all of this, it really points to a larger principle. True support is not a performance where you try to prove how helpful you are. It's about presence, just being there. This quote reveals such a crucial truth. Rushing to fix things or just filling silence with words, that's often about soothing our own discomfort with their pain. But our discomfort, that is not their burden to carry. True support means being willing to sit in that awkward, helpless feeling of not knowing what to do, because that's where the real connection actually happens. I love how grief advocate Lisa Kefauver breaks it down into these 4 beautifully simple steps. 1, show up. That's the first hurdle, just get there. 2, shut up. You have to resist that urge to fill the space. 3, listen. I mean really listen, without an agenda, without trying to fix anything. And 4, and this is so crucial, keep showing up. Because grief doesn't just end when the casseroles stop coming.
And that brings us to one of the most forgotten and maybe most important aspects of grief support, the long haul. I mean, just look at this timeline.
It's a stark illustration of what most grieving people experience. That first week, support is everywhere. But then, after a few months, the check-ins start to dwindle. And by the first anniversary, there's often just silence. And this happens right as the numbness wears off and the true long-term reality of the loss really starts to set in.
So how do you become one of the people who stays? Well, you can mark your calendar with their birthday, their anniversary, the date of the death. A simple thinking of you today text can mean the entire world. And offer specific help. Instead of saying, let me know if you need anything, try, I'm going to the grocery store, what can I grab for you? And please remember this. Many people find the second year even harder because the world expects them to be over it, but the permanence has just finally sunk in. So when you combine all these ideas, carrying grief, choosing your words carefully, being present for the long haul, you start to arrive at this really profound concept, the art of holding space. Holding space. This is the core of everything we've talked about. It's about creating a container for someone's pain, a place where they feel safe enough to express whatever they need to, knowing they won't be judged or rushed or fixed. It's really a practice of compassionate presence. And this puts the difference perfectly. You're not a guide trying to lead them out of the darkness. You're a companion, somebody who's willing to walk with them in the darkness for as long as it takes. You trust their path, and you match their pace. At the end of the day, what grieving people need most isn't advice or solutions. It's acknowledgement. It's that feeling of being truly seen in their pain. Just like Megan Devine says, being a witness to their reality, that is the most healing thing you can possibly offer. Your presence, that's the medicine. And this brings us to a final, really profound thought. Maybe our whole role in each other's lives isn't about fixing problems at all. Maybe, like Ram Dass said, we are all just walking each other home. And when a friend is grieving, that walk might mean moving through the absolute darkest of valleys. So the question isn't whether you can light the way for them, but whether you're brave enough to just walk beside them in the dark.